Good afternoon, beta testers. Actually, it's definitely more evening, but I digress. This is my new air efficiency testing setup. I'm trying to get some actual scientific data on the air efficiency of the engine, as well as the air efficiency of different modifications to this engine. Eventually, I'd like to plot the data on this rig for every HPA engine on the market, just so we can have some actual data on how well they perform and how much air they use. But for the most part, I'm just going to test one different modification at a time. I'm going to plot how well they each impact the system and then how well they combine together. And I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to get this to be pretty darn air efficient, at least comparable to everything else on the market. It shouldn't be any worse. That's for certain. I don't plan to release it having the worst air efficiency on the market. The reason it is currently air inefficient is just because it's tuned for maximum power output. If you read through any of the messages in the beta testers group, you can see that for the most part, people are getting like 20-30 FPS higher with this engine than with any others that they have. At least those are the numbers I remember off the top of my head. I know I was getting some pretty high numbers at the same PSI when I compared this to like my F2. Like this way outperforms my F2 at lower pressures, FPS wise, but not air efficiency wise. So that's why we're trying to tune and get that good balance. And this is just the first step in that. So the experiment itself, what I did was I got this air compressor. It came in the mail from Amazon today. I got this digital pressure gauge that I switched it out with, and I got my amped pressure gauge on the regulator for the compressor. Anyway, the way the experiment is working is I'm turning the compressor on, filling the tank, and then I'm letting it sit for 3 minutes and turning the compressor off. The reason I'm letting it sit for 3 minutes is because the air needs to cool down. The hot air is significantly higher pressure than the cool air, so I give it a little bit of time to get a little closer to room temperature. And that amount of time is consistent. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking a pressure reading at the start before I fire off any shots, and then I'm just going to have it run through 250 rounds. It's going to do one shot every second for 250 seconds, and then I'll be able to take a reading of the pressure gauge at the end. Unfortunately, all the data I collected so far was with this bad regulator. I didn't realize that it was so like bad, but I can kind of like wiggle it and change the pressure reading. So I was getting inconsistent numbers. Like, see, I bumped it, and then all of a sudden it was ending at 62 PSI because I had no idea what the actual reading was on this knob. And I think I turned it to make it go back to like, oh, it's not at 90, so I turn it up, and then now all of a sudden it's dumping more air because it's at a higher pressure, and I was just being stupid. And now we've got a known good regulator because I have the amped one on there. And then I'm going to start over plotting all of this data. So really, I just wanted to kind of ease your guys' minds, calm your nerves. I am doing stuff to actually improve air efficiency. You don't have to worry. This isn't an engine that's a finished product. We are currently making changes, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to have some new parts to you guys soon.